Swanee, God has smiled on the Gators, no question about it.
In the 2025 regular season in Week 2, Billy Napier suffered a loss that was basically the Titanic sinking in terms of his University of Florida head coaching career. It was the beginning of the end, deep down. He was then later on fired after winning his final game at Florida against Mississippi State. The coach that beat him in that USF game was none other than current Auburn Tigers head coach Alex Golesh. When Billy Napier was fired, it was no secret. The university and the fans wanted then Ole Miss coach, current LSU head coach Lane Kiffin. It was no secret. The number one target among the fans, Gator fans that is, was Lane Kiffin. The other target was Alex Golesh. Florida obviously selected Jon Sumrall from Tulane, while Lane Kiffin chose to go to rival LSU, and Alex Golesh went to another conference opponent, Auburn, who Florida will see in their first conference game of the year in Week 3 of the upcoming 2026 season. Lane Kiffin recently came under fire for revealing that the racist history in the state of Mississippi hindered his ability to recruit players to Oxford to play at Ole Miss. Alex Golesh also pissed off some people in Tampa, Florida for how he took a swipe at USF, openly saying that Auburn will give him a better shot at making the college football playoffs. When Jon Sumrall took the job at UF, Gator fans initially disavowed the hire, and over time, fans have grown to adore Jon Sumrall. It seems like there's an underlying sign between the three schools and their new coaches. Now, let's start with Lane Kiffin. He has been at the center of chaos at every coaching job he's partaken in, both in and out of college football. When he was fired by the at the time Oakland Raiders late owner Al Davis, he was not only fired by Al Davis, he was publicly lambasted by Al Davis. He was ripped to shreds, and he was presented a project board, Al Davis did, to the media, citing multiple reasons of why he was firing Lane Kiffin. Quite frankly, calling the dude a snake, for lack of a better term. Then after one season that he was at the University of Tennessee, he quit that job to the surprise of the city of Knoxville to take the job at USC. And then when it was reported that he was leaving the Alabama offensive coordinator job to take the head coach opportunity at Florida Atlantic out in Boca Raton, he tried to recruit Alabama staff to follow him to go with him to the Owls. And that caused Nick Saban to tell him, no, if you're going to take the Florida Atlantic job, fine. But if you're going to start recruiting my guys to leave with you to go to Boca Raton, you need to leave right now. And that was all before the media circus that he created and contributed to before he left Ole Miss. It's not that Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss to go to LSU. We've seen coaches in college football leave all the time. But no head coach drags out their process in the way that Lane Kiffin did. The way that Marty Smith, who for ESPN had to follow him everywhere that he goes, everywhere that he went to get an answer, how he was very noncommittal about whether or not he was staying in Oxford or going to Florida or going to Baton Rouge, and how he kept up the distraction for the Ole Miss players throughout the final run through the regular season. And then when he told Ole Miss, hey, I am going to leave you guys, but I want to coach your guys to LSU. And then when Ole Miss, non-surprisingly, said, no, you're not going to coach with us if you know you're eventually going to leave us, you need to go now, he tried to recruit some of the Ole Miss coaches and players to follow him to Baton Rouge, and he told them, hey, if you don't leave with me to Baton Rouge within a certain amount of time, you're not going to be hired by me at LSU. So obviously Lane Kiffin has been a bridge burner everywhere he goes. Everywhere he goes, there's chaos, destruction, and bridges burnt in the process. Now at LSU, he's citing racism for why he couldn't elevate Ole Miss's recruiting prowess and told LSU fans that they need to be patient in year one. Well, Lane Kiffin's going to be in for one hell of a surprise because LSU fans are not patient. They are not patient. He maybe could have said this back in 2000 in 2006 maybe, but not in 2026 when you have the track record that LSU has throughout the century. They want to win, and they want to win right now. Louisianans are rabid when it comes to their football, particularly the LSU Tigers. You could argue that the LSU Tigers are bigger to the state of Louisiana than the New Orleans Saints are. I think that's non-debatable. Everywhere Lane Kiffin goes, he always draws controversy. He draws controversy in some manner of fashion, whether it's on social media or it's in front of a microphone. Now let's go to Alex Golesh. I understand that USF fans felt backstabbed, that Golesh openly said that USF would not win a national title as opposed to being in the SEC. I don't think he's even wrong in saying that. I think it just sounds bad to hear that from a coach who got his first shot at being a head coach at the place that he left. I think that's what they are presenting more than anything. Because they can't honestly believe that as a group of 6, because the Pac-12 is making a slow return, that as a group of 16, you're better suited to make the college football playoff than being in the SEC, considering how much strength of schedule matters nowadays. But if the NCAA and College Football Playoff Committee keeps expanding their playoff entries, it doesn't really, to me, it's not going to make that much of a difference anymore. But that's another topic down the road. So it's just considering the fact that you have a coach in Alex Golesh who's taking shots at USF now that he's left, with their track record of Hugh Freeze and Brian Hartson right before that, it seems that the Auburn Tigers have a bad pattern of hiring coaches who burn their bridges on their way out of Auburn or on their way into Auburn. And it's also reported that Alex Golesh would apparently DM his media critics with retaliatory words back at USF. So these coaches are coming in with a lot of media fire and media controversy right behind them. Now, with Jon Sumrall, it's been completely different. Yes, Florida fans, myself included, were initially against the idea of hiring another group of 6 coach out of the state of Louisiana, considering we just got burned terribly by Billy Napier. Jon Sumrall has ingratiated himself with the Gator community on social media, going to Gator golf events, Gator baseball events, Gator basketball events, engaging with the fans, doing a ton of media, being on with University of Florida content creators, and has shown a completely approachable and personable, nature to him that Florida fans are like, hey, you know what? This guy, I think this guy gets it. Now, ultimately, he's going to have to win on the football field to maintain that support and maintain that enthusiasm. We get it. At the end of the day, you're either winning or you're losing. That's just how it is. And media tours are only going to get you so far. So the idea is that could Florida have secretly made the best hire from these 3 programs when it seemed like they struck out on Lane Kiffin? As the saying goes, you hit a home run on a strikeout. It sounds kind of crazy when you put it like that, but that's where it seems like it's headed. Jon Sumrall is saying the right things that are giving Gator fans a reason to think that he has the right mindset to translate into the program. While the other 2 more coveted targets for UF fans are seemingly creating noise at their new job beyond the demand of excellence. The new man in Gainesville is making it clear that adequacy is not tolerated, and it will not be the standard. The Gator standard, that is. It's going to be real interesting to see how these coaches really handle the pressure that's going to be put on them this season, and concerning the fact that Florida's going to face Auburn, as their very first SEC game, which will be a very first SEC game for both Sumrall and Alex Golesh. So it's going to be a fun season to watch for all 3 of these teams, and it will be real fun to see which one out of it came out with the best hire. But that's all for now, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.